DCM.WORKS. Backstreet's back. Alright.
Be advised. This podcast features grown-ups using grown-up words.
Welcome to Not Another Smallville. My name is Steph, and I've never seen the show before.
And my name is David, and I've seen it twice.
And this is season 1, episode... Oh, what's the episode?
18.
18! Wow!
Boys and girls, your attention, please. Presenting a new exciting radio program featuring the thrilling adventures of an amazing and incredible personality.
So close to finishing!
So close. I was going to say I'll edit around that and make it sound like you got it right, but I don't think I can.
No, it adds character.
Does it? I don't know.
I don't know.
It could do. I don't. Let's just go ahead and say it does, and then if people disagree, then it's whatever.
Whatever.
We don't have to. We're our own people, you know.
Who
We don't have to
cares?
draw self-esteem from what you think, although we do. We put out a free internet show. Look, this was a weird one, and I have a few weird things to talk about because it was a weird episode and it was kind of happy. But before, as always, what was the story, Steph?
What was the story? The story was...
Well,
it is-
you said that like you're like, what was the story? I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you asked.
It is, at Smallville High, the time of the year where everyone runs for class president. There's this
The classic
popular,
high school storyline.
Yeah, popular cheerleader versus nerdy Asian guy. It's just typical that they had to make the nerdy guy Asian.
Yeah, also the
hot
cheerleader was
wasn't
not that
even
hot.
No.
Like it was
No.
like her body was like an 8, but then it was like
Her
okay.
face was like a 4.
Yeah. And even the freckles is like whatever, you can look past freckles. She just wasn't that good looking.
No.
And yet she was like the super popular cheerleader.
Yeah. Anyway, so, and of course Chloe's doing, like, the journalism story.
Wow. You mean the bios for the candidates?
Yeah.
You were just on top of it this morning,
I
Steph.
am, I'm
yeah.
tired.
Like,
I
we're
had
both
work this morning, that's my excuse.
we're both a little bit out of it. But that's okay. We'll
we also
power
haven't
through.
done this in a while, so
Look, we're a bit out of practice. But that's okay.
that's okay. And anyway,
I mean, we do this once a week stuff.
yeah,
every
totally.
week, yeah.
Every week.
Definitely.
Yep. Anyway. And so Pete decides to surprise Clark by like entering him in the race because it's funny, big laugh, and anyway.
What a good gag.
Ha ha ha. And then Clark does it anyway. But then like in the meantime, Asian guy goes home. There's another chick running for class president, but no one really thinks about her because she's a bit weird.
Yeah, she's like
Her
the...
name's Sasha. Anyway.
Yes, it is. We didn't learn that till about
Until,
35
like,
minutes
yeah,
in.
halfway through.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, and so, like, the Asian guy goes home, is, like, in the bathroom, gets stung by a bee. There's bees everywhere.
There's just so many bees.
Like, there's
It's
just,
disgusting.
There's, like, bees in his bathroom, and it's like, what? Is he a bee man? Is he gonna do something
Is he going to be
bees?
powered by bees? We
And
thought
then-
that... We thought we were done with bug episodes.
Yeah, I was very upset. I hate bugs.
You did kind of have a moment where you just were making a noise.
Just like,
ah.
But, yeah, no, anyway, he is, like, rattling, and he looks down the drain, and all these bees
Ugh.
fly out of the drain and just, like,
So many
attack
bees.
him. And he's in hospital, but he's still running for president.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, and then later...
You have a look of deep concentration on your face. You're
Trying
like,
to think.
fuck, what did happen
Because there's, like,
next?
there's always, in Smallville, there's always 2 different stories. There's, like, the main plot and the B
And then
plot.
Lex's plot.
Yeah, Lex's plot.
Well,
essentially.
Lex's plot starts with him driving...
Yeah, he's driving, there's a hot chick, with the
fixing
hood
a car.
open, fixing a car on the side of the road. He stops and is like, oh, I'll ring my mechanic, do you need help? And she's like, no, I don't need help. And then he realizes that something's a bit fishy.
Yeah.
And he like puts the key in the car and turns it, and her car turns on, and he's like, who do you work for? And then she's like,
She's clever
oh,
with
I'm a
us."
reporter.
She did sound like that. You got her voice perfect.
And he's like, I don't talk to you, and he drives away.
Okay, that was less good. I don't know
No,
if
that's
Lex-
exactly what Lex sounds like.
Say another Lex. Give me another Lex quote. Say, I want to be president.
I want to be president.
Okay, perfect. You got it. You captured the essence of the character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that happens, and
Yep.
then basically his plot, I'll just summarize it. This chick just keeps trying to like get an interview with with Lex.
Yep.
Eventually, he gives it to her, and like she promises that she'll write a really good story on him, and then he ends up she ends up, like, sort of using it to twist his words because it's her first, like, major article.
Yeah.
And then later did they establish that she was actually working for his dad?
Yeah, well, because he assumed that she was working for Lionel the whole time. And she was like, no, I'm not working for Lionel or whatever. And then... Did they... Okay, here's... So then they have the weird massage thing where they probably banged, but it's never really clear.
I don't think so. I think he just wanted the massage because he paid for it.
That's fair. He's a man of...
If you paid for an hour massage and then a reporter turns up and tries to, like, interview you,
Gives
you'd
you,
be
like,
like,
two.
no, you massage me.
You massage the shit out of me.
And then we interview.
Yeah, so the implication there was that she did work for Lionel, but she didn't really admit it until she'd made the deal with Lex, so it was like...
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Anyway.
Yeah,
back
so
to
that was the B plot.
Yeah, back to
Ironically,
the
not the B plot, though. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That's a good joke.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, thank you so much.
Back to the bees. So yeah, and then...
I just realized how dumb of a joke that is. The B plot.
Not the B plot. Anyway, so the A plot, which is actually the bees.
Yeah.
The weird chick then, like... Well, the weird chick Sasha, who, like, isn't really relevant at this point, goes to, like, the cheerleader chick and is like, oh, you need to drop out of the race. And she's like, why? And she's like, oh, because I need this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's like, oh, well, like, the cheerleader chick's like, no, I'm not going to drop out. And so she's like, okay, well, just remember, I asked nicely. So the cheerleader chick gets in the car, and then all of a sudden it's, like, stopped him. Principal Kwan's, like, behind in the car, and she's stopped in the car park, and he's, like, honking the horn. And, he gets out of the car because the car's not moving. He's like, what's her name? Felicia?
Felice?
Oh,
Felice.
Felice. That's...
It's really a dumb name, but that's what she's called.
He's like, Felice, what's the
What's
issue?
what's
and
cracking?
he's, like, knocking on the window, and of course it's America, so they have really dark windows.
Yeah.
And
Is
anyway,
hang on. Dark windows...
Dark window tint, they're allowed to be, like,
they can
pitch
go,
black.
like, super black. Yeah, okay.
Anyway, he opens up the door, and she just, like, falls out of the car with bees all over
Oh,
her.
it's the worst.
Anyway, so, like, at this point, you know that Sasha, the bee lady, is the bee lady.
Yep.
Sasha, the weird lady, is the bee lady.
Sasha the bee lady is the bee lady.
But, yeah, so she, like, is it her home, I guess? Like, she has this little shed. With a sign at the front saying campaign headquarters.
And, which is weird, because it's literally just a shitty shed.
It's just a shitty shed, and there's
with
lots
all
of
her
bees in
in
it.
it.
And, like, there's a massive hive at the top.
It's so gross.
Anyway, Clark and Chloe start to, like, make the connection that it could be Sasha, because it's just ironic that she asked them to drop out. Ironic that two members of, like, the race for class president had been hospitalized with horrific bee stings.
Yeah.
But she was stung by bees last year in a gorge with meteor rocks. And
so then
they're
we're
like,
great.
oh, cool, she must be controlling them.
No need for further explanation, Smallville.
Yeah, so
you got us to the kryptonite.
They go check out her shed, and there's, like, just a massive hive in the roof and stuff like that.
It's so gross.
Anyway.
Also, Chloe, just before we move on from that, there's a weird shot in there where Chloe and Clark are, like, having a weird intimate moment. But
and they're, like, really zoomed in.
But they were, like, really close-up headshots. It was very odd.
Mm.
I threw on my pen.
Alright, I think I've almost finished the story. So,
nearly there.
Anyway, she tries to go after Clark. She asks Clark to drop out of the race, and Clark's like, oh, you know, it's just funny, like, how two candidates got stung by bees, and you're asking everyone to drop out, and blah, blah, blah.
I bloody suspect you, mate.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, well, how dare you, doesn't matter anyway. And then, Clark is at the, what even is it called where Lana works?
The Talon.
Yeah, the Talon.
That took me, I was like...
Yeah, I was like, it's not the Beanery.
The
That's
Beanery is
the
the rival one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit, I forgot there was, like, a C-plot of Lana and the
Yeah, in the cafe.
They really put a lot into this episode.
They did, surprisingly. Anyway, so Lana's in the cafe. I don't think she went to school once this whole episode.
Oh my god.
She's just been working.
Everyone else is at school. She's just at the fucking cafe the whole time.
I don't know. Maybe they don't even have class in Smallville. Who knows?
Yeah.
But, yeah, so anyway, they're there, like, Clark and Lana there having coffee, and he's telling Lana about, like, his stuff, and she's telling him about her stuff, and then all of a sudden they hear rattling, and it's like, where's that coming from? What is that? And then Clark uses his X-ray vision. There's all these bees.
So many
coming through
bees
the
in a
vent,
pipe.
And it's like, oh no! And he's like, oh Lana! And he locks her in a cupboard so that she's like all right and doesn't get stung by bees.
I want to point out though, he doesn't super speed her or anything. He just drags her really quickly.
He's like, let's go! Before the bees even appear.
Yeah, which she is not sus on for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then, anyway, he like, the bees come out and he runs into a room and hides behind the door, and the bees just go straight past
he does
him.
the classic like noir police detective thing where like you're running away from the cop or whatever,
Yeah.
and then you like duck behind the frame of a door and they run past you.
Yeah.
And it worked on bees for some reason.
Yeah, it worked on bees.
I
And
don't
then
think bees work
he
like
just
that.
rips a pipe out from the wall with cold air in it. I don't know.
It's full of cold ice spray.
And he like just sprays the bees, and all the bees drop dead because they're frozen.
And he ruins the entire room.
Yeah, and then yeah, and all the flowers and everything.
Is there a way he could have done that without the pipe?
Probably.
Definitely.
But anyway, then he's like at home in the barn. He invites Sasha there because he's like, oh, it's definitely her.
He's gonna lay a trap.
Yeah,
So your
and-
microphone is facing the wrong way. That's fine. I'll worry about that
I'm
later.
pretty sure it's been.
It's been picking up, but I just noticed it was facing that way.
Okay.
I did not even think to check. That's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
I'll let it. It's fine. I'll make it work.
Let's hope it sounds alright.
And if it doesn't, we're not going to re-record it. So there you go. Maybe you'll just get the end of the plot.
Maybe. And then yeah, so she's in the barn, and then she's like, why did you invite me here? And he's like, because I know you done it.
A bloody ruse. You good?
I know you control the bees.
Yep.
And she's like, well, what does it matter anyway? Like,
No one can stop me.
No one can stop me.
I'm the king
and if
of
you don't drop
everything.
out of the race, then like there's a whole auditorium of people that I can get with my bees.
I can kill everyone.
Yeah. And then so anyway, he's like, oh, try me then. Like, try and kill me with your bees.
Give it a crack.
Yeah. And then anyway, she like stands there and she like closes her eyes and looks like she's concentrating really hard. And then he's like, oh, what are you doing? She's like, I'm summoning the bees, but not to you because you got thick skin. But
Well,
what about your mum?
mother?
And then Mama Kent's in the field
Mama
on a
Kent.
tractor, and then all these bees
So
come.
many bees.
And Clark super speeds and like gets her and takes her down into the cellar so that the bees can't get her.
Oh,
And
so many bees.
then he's like, oh, better go.
Better
and
bloody
then,
go get her, mate.
oh no, because Mama
Wait,
Kent's
where
like,
does he go?
no, because Mama Kent's like, oh, where do you think they are now? And then he's like, I don't know. And then it shoots back to Sasha, and she's going into like a little shitty shed, and Clark's in there already because he's super
I
speeded
don't
there.
understand why the bees attacked her.
Oh no, they explain that.
Do they?
Yeah, because
Did I just completely zone out? For
yeah,
that
I
for the
think you
episode?
did. Because when Chloe and Clark were in the shed,
Oh yeah, no, I got that. But they're only loyal to a certain extent. But why did they stop becoming loyal?
because she kept like sending them to get like Clark and Mama Kent and like failed both times.
Oh, okay. So they were like, the bees were like, we want.
We want to kill
Flash?
something. I don't know.
That's how bees
Anyway,
work,
yeah, they start
probably.
coming back to attack Sasha.
Yeah.
And they break through the windows and stuff. So Clark just throws a screwdriver at a gas bottle and it explodes.
Destroys the whole building.
Yeah, he's protecting Sasha, obviously.
Obviously.
And he
good boy
sends her to
Clark
the
Kent.
hospital, but it's like, how does that just...
And also, his clothes are fine.
Yeah, his clothes are fine.
They haven't yet got to
Her
the
clothes
point.
are fine.
Everyone's fine. They haven't got to the point yet where they start destroying his clothes.
Hmm.
It does happen eventually, and then you get to see a lot of shirtless, slightly on fire Tom Welling.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, long story short, Asian guy wins.
Yeah, and then everyone is happy, and then Lana saved the Talon, and Lex does a deal, and the story goes away, and everyone.
Yeah.
It's just a happy ending, and then Clark and Lana have yet another weird.
Yeah, she's in the barn and he like reads her his campaign speech that he never got to give because he didn't win.
Yeah, and it's not very good.
No, it's horrible. He's
Yeah.
a terrible public
He's
speaker.
the worst.
Anyway.
Aside from the hundreds of bees, which were just the worst, we saw like another great, like bit of Lex being clever.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of, I feel like they're writing these B plots just so that they can be like, this is how smart Lex Luthor is.
Yeah.
In case you forgot.
Yeah, he's
like
very
that's,
smart. Mm-hmm.
That's all it feels like they're doing. They're like, here's a situation with Lex Luthor where he's gonna just be a smart boy for 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And so we had that with at the start when he works out that her car isn't broken, and then again at the end. Like it's weird. I like Lex a lot, but it feels like disingenuous at this point where every single time we see him,
Yeah.
he's just doing something really clever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool.
Cool.
Whatever,
Like, we
mate.
know, we get it. He doesn't need to be sneaky all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure he just...
Sometimes he just has a me day where he just sits around and plays pool and drinks scotch.
why can't he interact with anyone without it, like, being weird? Like, why can't he just be normal and have friends?
I guess he technically does when he goes to
No!
the town
Have you ever seen him
sometimes.
interact normally with someone? He's always being clever or sneaky, or someone's being sneaky with him.
Oh god, I'm really trying to think if we've seen him.
I don't
just-
think he has friends. His fencing partner, who was
Yeah.
like some hot chick
who he's probably
in
banging.
the first episode.
At this point, I assume that he's just banging any woman in his life.
Yeah, but it's just, he doesn't have...
He doesn't have friends. You're right. I guess he wouldn't though. Like he's the kind of
No.
guy that probably wouldn't have friends. Yeah, shit. That's a tough one for our boy Lex.
Yeah.
No friends Lex.
No friends
That's
Lex.
his famous high school nickname. Yeah. So you made a good. Well, actually, I want to talk about Lex's slogan that he gives to Superman, which is "Man of Tomorrow."
Yeah.
Ugh. I mean, okay. So they were like, oh, there's some really good. There's some really good comic books that were centered around this idea of Man of Tomorrow. And they basically, the runners, I guess the writers of Smallville were like, how on the nose can we make this? What if we called this what if we had Clark call his campaign Man of Tomorrow, color it in Superman colors, and just keep repeating that slogan just to drive home the point that we've read a Superman comic.
Yeah.
Just obnoxious. Like, but again, that's all this
Like,
show does.
I feel like the show just needs to prove, like, that they're linked to Superman by aggressively, like,
Oh, so aggressively.
oh, look how clever we are.
I've always wanted to
Foreshadowing!
be president. I've always wanted to be president, says
Yeah.
Lex. You're like,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
we get it. We know.
We know.
We've seen the Flash. Like, it's fine. You don't have to keep telling us. We understand that that's what's happening. Everyone knows these characters. They've been around for like 50 years. But you know what? They gotta do what they gotta do.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna get worse from here. Until about season 5, when then it just starts to get cool again. But the referencing and stuff just gets more and more ham-fisted.
Really?
From memory, yeah. I also wanted to, when we already talked about the screwdriver throw and how little how little sense that makes. Because it makes no sense. I was saying music as I read the word music. Yeah, the screwdriver makes 0 sense.
Yeah.
But that's fine. They had to resolve it somehow. And everything in Smallville is extra combustible. Mm-hmm. Cars.
Oh, yeah.
Everything just explodes.
Maybe it's the meteors. Maybe they're really flammable.
Or maybe it does that. Maybe it just changes like the atmosphere in
Yeah.
Smallville, so it's like everything in Kansas is just real explosive, which would probably
I'd
suit
believe it.
Kansas. Yeah, look, I've never been there. Smallville's not a real place. It could, you know what? It could happen. Things could
It's
just
probably
be
not a
more
real place
explosive.
because it lit on fire and burned down.
What, Smallville? Yeah. Wait, what? I'm sorry. Let's just take 2 steps
No,
back.
maybe it was real.
Oh, you
and
mean
they
the
it
actual
lit on
place,
fire
Smallville.
and burnt down.
Why would you say that?
Because it's really flammable.
Oh, I was trying to work out the link in my brain. That was really obvious, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. We need more sleep. I thought you meant
It was just a bad joke, but like you completely missed it, and I had to
it
keep
just
repeating
went
it
straight over my
because-
head. Like
Because
I
you're
was,
like, what do you mean? Why would it
Well,
burn
'cause
down?
in my head I was like, why would the real place Smallville burn? Like, what are you talking about? But no, you meant okay.
'Cause
I'm
of
with you. Yeah, that's
fire.
fine. I got it now. Thanks, everyone at home. Is like, fucking idiot. That's, fine. That's only a little bit embarrassing. I completely missed that.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's okay.
Look, Steph. Here's what it is. You made a really good point about the gifts versus powers thing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. And they do that. They kind of accentuate that a little bit more later on when he becomes the Blur or whatever. But that idea of like gifts versus powers or whatever. Super interesting that because then later on, like they'll talk about other people with powers when that starts to happen as having gifts, and it's about how you choose to use the gifts, not that you have like special powers or whatever. And it's that idea of like a lot of Superman comics are based around this premise of like you can have gifts or whatever, but that doesn't define you. It's the person before the gifts. So like,
Well, had Clark been born a little arsehole, they probably wouldn't be calling his gifts gifts.
yeah, there's a great run of comics that everyone is probably sick of hearing about, which is where he lands in Russia instead of Kansas, and it's Superman Red Sun, where he sort of becomes this evil communist version of Superman doing that sort of thing. And then a great pitch by the Sans Pants guys where he lands in are the polar bears in the north?
Yeah, the
Pole?
North.
Yeah, he lands in the North Pole and grows up as like a savage in the North Pole, like punching whales and stuff, which is a great idea. But yeah, I just always like this idea that the Smallville is trying really hard to like get these themes in early, but kind of very aggressively, like really aggressively be like, okay, these are his gifts. They're not just powers, they're gifts. So that later on when other people with gifts appear, you can get that kind of moral dilemma of, well, it doesn't matter how much power you have. If you're a cunt, then you're going to do bad things.
Yeah.
Instead of what, like, because it's kind of like the same idea as like the Batman stuff, where it's like, doesn't matter how much money and wealth you have. If you do the wrong thing, then you're still a bad guy. But I think one of the things they're going to start to run into, and I'm hoping it's soon, we've got so few episodes left. I'm so hoping that season 2 is just fresh, and
I'm hoping so too.
I'm hoping so. We have a special to do in the middle, so we get to watch something that isn't Smallville, that's still Superman, but hopefully by the time we get to season 2, we're going to get, fingers crossed, a bit of Clark doing more like superhero savvy stuff. So hopefully someone else is going to find out about his powers. I think it's either Pete or Chloe. I'm not sure. I hope it's one of the two. I hope it's Chloe, because Pete is just, get rid of him.
I get the feeling that Chloe
Because Pete, you could tell Pete, and then you could fuck Pete off out of the show.
yeah.
Because I feel like that's I really don't remember how Pete leaves, but yeah, like, because it feels like they want to get rid of Pete to replace him with like someone more interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, instead of just making him an interesting character.
And like they've gone too far now. You can't make him an interesting character. There's no substance there.
He's
at
so
all.
flat. Like you can make flat characters into round characters if you really work at it. But they've had him be nothing for so much of the show that if we ever do get him being not flat, it's gonna feel really weird. Like if he ever comes out with the comment that is like genuine characterization, we would both be like, that doesn't sound like Pete.
No.
Because Pete's so boring.
Yeah.
He's just the most vanilla dude in the world.
Yeah.
At least Clark has some edges. Like he's pretty much in love with Lana, even though she's with Whitney, and they keep going on dates and shit.
Yeah.
But Whitney and Lana are still together, I guess.
I'm assuming so. He wasn't in this episode, but yeah.
He was in one shot.
Was he?
Yeah, they're in the Talon, and it was empty, and Whitney had coerced
he had
the
his
football
friends
boys.
there, yeah.
He was in the background of one shot. So I guess they're together again.
Must be.
But yeah, it was unclear. Like their relationship is really weird. They don't seem to spend any time together.
No. And he's just cool.
He's just cool with it and always around.
Yeah.
It's very odd. And also they're in like Bible Belt, Kansas, so I don't think they're just doing it for sex or whatever. I think that's probably an emotional relationship with some making out and stuff, but there's nothing. We never see
Probably
them.
because of his dad. Maybe
Yeah,
she feels
could
like
be.
she can't leave.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The guilt thing that we
Yeah.
heard about in that episode where she lost her inhibitions. Yeah, that's interesting. I kind of want to see. Well, I want to see Pete and Whitney go because they're the two. They're really the two parts of the story that are inhibiting the writers from telling interesting narratives. Because instead of because normally what happens, and I've started to notice this a lot, is they'll have an idea for a hook of the episode. So in this one, it's student election. One of the students can injure the other ones. It's a pretty good premise for a Smallville episode, considering. The problem is what they do is they're like, okay, cool. Clark and Chloe would react like this, and blah 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 blah. How do we get Clark involved in the election? Oh, we'll use Pete. 'Cause
Yeah.
Pete's a good plot device.
Yeah.
Same thing with Whitney, where they're like, oh, how do we get Clark and Lana in a situation together where they want to spend time together but they can't? Oh, we'll use Whitney. And so what starts to happen is they both become these weird plot devices
Yeah.
to construct situations so the writers can be like, okay.
Rather than actually being like involved in the grand scheme of things. Yeah.
Yeah, rather than like good writing should be, this happened because of this, and then this happened because of the thing that happened. Not this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. Which is what Smallville episodes are like, because they're sort of serialized, but they're not really properly serialized. There's no long-running story as of yet properly. So it's like, what you want to do is you want to have episodes, somewhat a show like Archer, which is a really fun, stupid adult cartoon, but something they do really well is episodes tend to be discrete stories, but they all happen in a sequence that occurs because of the episode before it. So it's like, someone will go on a mission. It's about spies. I don't know if you've seen Archer.
I've heard of it, but no.
It's like it's a comedy about an alcoholic spy. But the basic point is, they'll go on a mission and do something, and then the next episode, the next mission will occur because of the previous mission. But you don't have to have seen the previous episode, but it's just like inferred cause and effect. Smallville doesn't do that yet, so it feels like all of these stories are completely inconsequential because nothing's going to happen to Pete. Nothing's going to happen to
Yeah.
Chloe. Nothing's going to happen to Clark. Because there's no indication that anything has any lasting consequence yet.
Yep.
So even if someone got injured, which Chloe fell out of a 2-story building a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
She's fine.
She's fine.
Like, until we get some continuous consequences, it's just a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, the only, like, sort of consequences that I can see are the ones that involve Lex's plot, and even then, not
Yeah.
so much.
And they're kind of tangentially
It's sort of just
tied
like,
to the rest of it.
Dad.
Yeah, like, there's going to be a resolution there at some point, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah.
And even if there isn't, like, why is that the only story that is continuous? Don't know. What are you doing, Smallville? I guess we'll find out.
Being shit.
Just being Garbo. But look, Steph, as always, that's gonna do it for this week. If you want to contact us on the Twitter, if you want to tweet at us, the team is at DCM_WORKS.
Yes.
We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. Those are the 3 places. I said that like there were more.
Yeah.
We just launched a new channel, The Antagonist. So if you want to look that up, it's all linked in the show notes. It's where we put all of our serious content. And yeah, that's what we're doing at the moment. So we get that's sort of separating those feeds, so you can subscribe to DCM.WORKS for all of our podcasts and our dumb stuff, and then for the serious stuff, it's over there.
We're not that serious. We're pretty dumb.
Look, we're pretty dumb. Hang on, are you calling me dumb?
No, like, I meant we as in, like,
So rude.
me.
Steph, so rude. That's it. I'm replacing you with the cat. Because he'd be more polite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but, like, he wouldn't have as much to say.
He'd struggle to retell the story. At the
Yeah,
start of the
I feel
episode.
like he would.
He'd probably just sleep on the chair. But look, if you, I was gonna say, if you want to get a sweet URL, you can. The show is powered by hover.com. It's the easiest way to get a URL if you need one. You can use our referral link. You get a sweet $2 off.
Wow.
$2 news. That's
Holy moly!
it's
Considering
US
they
dollars.
only cost like
Oh, it's
what?
like $5 or $6 or something.
yeah.
It's like nearly half price.
That's
almost.
awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. You can buy or transfer a domain. I use them to transfer from domain.com. Super easy. They make the process really simple. And they actually have really good customer support. I had to get in contact with them because one of our sub URLs was not populating, and they were like super helpful. Like I just called them on the phone, and they had a really good call center, and yeah, very coherent conversation, really nice service. So yeah, definitely get on top of that if you want a URL. That sounded way more like an ad than a referral.
It did. It
link.
actually did.
Yeah, but they are really good. We only use advertisers that we like their products. So
Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying that you should sponsor us, McDonald's, but you know, never say no.
We really like your burgers.
Well, we just can't afford anything else. But look, Steph, if people want to support the show directly, patreon.com/DCM.WORKS. I'm at DCM I Hate Pie.
I'm at StephanieJD95.
Got it. I will see you guys next week.
See ya. Thanks for listening. If you want to support the show, just head to patreon.com/DCMWorks.